awareness. What I would suggest is that obviously we've got the British parliamentarian here, we have MPs, we have people in the House of Lords, and I think what I would suggest or recommend, from your group or either from yourself, an official letter to our MP Paul Blomfield. I mean, we're in his constituency, and also people like Lord Ahmed. I think if you address a letter to him and get their views and see how they can obviously help us or assist us in this matter.
I think it's exceptionally important that we set an objective what we want to try to achieve, because ultimately the sacrifice we're making here is nothing in comparison to what they are making there. But in the short, medium term, if 3 months, 6 months time, we look back and we feel we didn't achieve anything, whilst I accept fully, Rizwaan, the efforts we're making, it's not about settling everything, but we need to set an objective. And in all fairness, in any project in the world, there's always a project, there's always an objective, and then we agree a method in how we're going to achieve that. So I think it's really important, whatever way we break up into, whatever little groups, if it's a workshop, that we agree what we want to achieve as an objective. Otherwise, what we could do is we could write to the entire world, and at the end of it feel, we've got nowhere. So I strongly suggest that we all agree certain core objectives, whether it's today or after today, and then we can inshallah work with our objectives and how we can meet them inshallah.
I think my insight, I think that they need a maximum coverage in media. This is what you've got people here in media. We want to make maximum awareness to the general public. These people are suffering. So I think that
I was going to say the same thing. I think it's very important. A lot of people aren't even aware. I mean, I wasn't myself, I have to admit, wasn't aware. These are the issues that we are facing. And the destitute people, they have no recourse at all other than people just working on their behalf for the sake of Allah. And I think it's really important to highlight their issues and their, what they're sort of going through. Whatever medium we use, whether it's through the media, whether it's through word of mouth, whether it's through people we know, whether it's through our parliamentarians, I think we need to use a variety of methods to actually, first of all, highlight the issues that they're going through, so there's as much awareness as possible, amongst ourselves and amongst the media and amongst other people. And I think that's the only way to actually, to try to assist these people. That's the only way that, before anybody is going to be able to do anything for them, they're going to have to become aware of it. If people aren't even aware of it, what is anybody going to do? So I think that's the first and foremost thing, is to make people aware as much as possible by as many means as possible.
Brother Rizwaan, I think today has been acknowledged that this is an issue. I think we've been reading in the media, it's been hit and miss. Whilst I think we've got some of the people from the media, I think we need to do a media campaign. We can involve the high street media as well. Like Brother said, I think we need to set up not only a one-off event, but I think we need to sustain this as a long-term issue. Whilst we're going to campaign our parliamentarians, I think the issue is also how we get the community on board. And not only the Muslim community, but also the non-Muslim, the Western media, the Western colleagues. Because I think under the human rights banner, we can get more support. And I think like the elder gentleman talked about his son, Abdul Aziz, why don't we do a trial? Why don't we do a test trial? Get the human rights organisation in England to take that case up and support him and get his son back to him. Otherwise, what will happen is we'll have another meeting for the sake of another meeting. And I totally agree with you. It shouldn't just be a one-off thing. We need to look at a short-term, a medium-term, and a long-term objective. We spend a lot of money. We spend a lot of money for other causes, but like you guys have organised this event tonight, I think the justification to get, because I think the numbers 300, 400, and the 10,000 numbers that the Sister Amina related to, I think that's just tip of the iceberg. You know, 10,000 is the recorded number of missing people. What about those that we never get to hear about? The other issue is, I think it's about making people aware of what is the real issue. And I think our parliamentarians, and it should be a cross-political issue. It should be the Labour Party, the Conservative Party, the Lib Dems Party. They should do it as a cross-political issue. Otherwise, what will happen, and you know what happens, it gets hijacked by one political party. And I think we need to sell it as a cross-political issue. We've got a number of people here from different backgrounds, different public bodies, private sector bodies, from the businessmen. We've got people from the Pakistani media, at least. Let's do a campaign, a press campaign, and get it on the front page of at least their bulletins and their papers. And then I think we need to roll it within the community. You know, some of the women, they're not here tonight, some of the other people, and I know you didn't really filter it out. You just wanted a handful of people, at least to get the issue on the table. Now that we've got it, I think we need to run a campaign.
Yes, I think that's I think that's what you and Shahid mentioned, and also what mentioned. You know, we are we'll be meeting again, and we will be kind of discussing this issue. We're not going to let it kind of go under the carpet. There's another event planned which will be hopefully targeted for a wider audience. Inshallah, before you leave, please leave your details so that we inform you. Say bye.
I just want to set up to be a little bit more practical. If you can, some of you can jot down certain points about it. What is the situation? So that people, in numbers of 2 or 3, should take upon themselves between now and the next time we meet to go and see their individual MPs. But they should go as individuals. They go 2 and 3 people with that brief. So it will be a common brief and a point of contact which can be given to those MPs. Irrespective of political alliances, we should go cross-party, as somebody was saying, to see our MPs. And just at least make them aware. And then sometime in the future, if possible, inshallah, call some of those MPs to a meeting.
Yeah. I find it quite uncomfortable that we're looking at a Pakistan issue. Ultimately, it's a political issue, and we're putting such great emphasis on MPs in the UK. And we don't have to look far. Look at Libya. Yeah, look at the tyranny of the British government involved in shaking hands with Libya, or many of the other tyrants. But yet we're putting the emphasis there. What we need to identify is a political issue. What we should be doing in political activity is maybe writing to the Pakistan High Commission, saying, what are you doing about it? We as a Pakistani community in the United Kingdom are asking you, what is the government doing with regards to this? And I think that is a more practical way forward than to look to ask those MPs who don't have an interest in Pakistan to say, look, what can you do for us? And I completely, as you know, I fully oppose that view. But practically, I feel it's not something that's going to change something, and the High Commission can be a lot more effective.
If I may interject, I mean, the issue, as I said earlier, this is an issue, and bear in mind that obviously, we're all volunteers here, we all have a day job, families and capacity in that. But what we're saying is, prior to this, you didn't know about it. It's a judgment call. And, the English philosopher and politician Edmund Burke said, the only thing necessary for triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. And it's a judgment call. You didn't know prior to this, but now you do know. And it's according to your capacity what you do with it. The Prophet, peace be upon him, said that, when you see evil, you either change it with your hand, okay, with your tongue, and if you can't, you think that's something bad, and that's the least state of iman, of faith. So for us, there's a number of levels. This is an injustice. It's above the political divide, it's above the religious divide. We're purely talking about, on a humanitarian level, about the injustices, whether in Pakistan, in the 70s, we've had it in Chile, Argentina, China, it's going on. But the fact is that these people are dispossessed, they're downtrodden, illiterate. That's what, you know, Amina Janjua was saying to us, that they can't even read or write. And they come from the most deprived and backward areas in Pakistan. So it's about each of us doing the £10 tonight that you will donate. 50%, correct me if I'm wrong, Shahid here, because he's the guy in charge of the money, because you don't trust me. But, you know, 50% of that will go towards help. So whether it's financial, moral, you know, any opportunity that you get, in terms of, you know, we understand the political situation and intelligence and the agencies. Nobody understands better than myself. I'm ex-military, I work, you know, the present, and I've had some of my unit officers were seconded to the ISI, and some of the work that they did. And we understand it's a difficult work that the intelligence agencies do, whether it's in Britain, in Pakistan, or across the board. But ultimately, you know, there is something we talk about human rights, we talk about the rule of law, and we talk about transparency and accountability. And I said at the start, it's for these people, they are left in a limbo. They don't know what is the allegation. You know, if I'm sniped in the middle of the night, my family don't know. And I might be the only breadwinner. But they need some answers, and that answer can only be provided by the government and the agencies of Pakistan. And you're responsible and honourable members of, you know, not only this community, but we're back in Pakistan, and some of you represent political parties from Pakistan. And let's ask those questions of our, you know, politicians back in Pakistan. What are you doing? Because let's put it this way. If somebody dies, we bury that person. And there's a closure. And Allah, you know, with passage of time, you come to terms with it. These people have not had a closure. You know, I mean, my father, I'll tell you, my dad died 11 years ago. Occasionally I look back and become sad, but then I get on with life. There's the closure because I buried him with my own hands, and I know where he is and all the rest of it. These people don't know whether they're alive, they're dead, and it's the worst injustice that anybody, whether it's in Pakistan, whether it's Chile, Argentina, or Britain, or Northern Ireland, you know, wherever it is happening, we need to stand up and be counted. And that's really, as I said, it's a judgment call for each one of us.
Rizwaan, just one point.